because that was actually how it was pretty damn close to the story.
Mm-hmm.
And like, well, the white commander he wasn't and this is why this ideology that they have is utterly useless to anybody in any progress. If you don't bow to white people or bow to black people, then you're not accepting your role in your white privilege. But if you help black people from a position of power, then you are a white savior or you are someone trying to control them.
You're condescending.
Right. So, I mean, and that's part of the issue and I deal with that in the novel too, because in terms of conventional power, the Robert Faulkner, he controls a significant amount of money. He's not the richest, but he's under the finance guy. You know, he's the second.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's running and he's got money. He's very strong, and he's very, he's for some reason he's getting even stronger than the other ones. The people don't know why.
But he took the Afrocentric black businesswoman.
Yes.
Who was a bound one, not a vampire.
Right, and she was actually captured by one of the racist vampires.
But he put her in charge of this.
Yes.
She succeeded.
Yes.
And he put her in charge because she was the best person for the job and showed results, not because he was filling a quota.
Right. And so there's that game of they demand you, James, give us opportunity. But every time if you don't agree and bow, then that opportunity you're giving black people is just using them.
Yeah.
So the ideology, to me, I'll say this. I think that at this point, the white woke are the white supremacists. I'm going to say that straight up on your show. Mm-hmm. I'm looking at it. They demand that blackness be put in a perspective of victimization, where you're constantly having, to me, saying black people should be given $2 million for slavery is a white supremacist view. What? The whole point of getting rich is to do it yourself.
Right.
We're all basically rich in America. I'm not saying rich, but you know what I'm saying. Compared to Somalia, compared to Sudan, compared to Cuba.
Sure. I mean,
compared to Sweden.
The figure, and I'll throw this out. I'm going to be off by a few $1,000s, but it's all it's all the eat the rich, eat the rich, eat the rich. And there was a lady who said, we just need to get this money by taxing the rich. I said, well, that might be you. I said, no way, it's me. Well, what is rich? I think she said, if you make more than $10 million a year. I said, well, what if you have more than the lower half? Right. Well, sure, you're rich. Okay. The median income for the world is $33,000.
Right.
I think you make more than that.
Right.
So give it up, sister.
Right.
Hand it over. Hand it all over, whatever you make. If you make $43,000 a year, $10,000 to the lower 50%. Well, now, wait a minute. Now, that's not what we're talking about. We're not talking about the world. We're talking about, wait a minute. It's a global society.
Right.
How am I better, or how are you better than someone in Pakistan?
Right.
Who makes $800 a year?
Right.
Okay.
Or India.
Yeah.
You know?
Exactly.
And
exactly. So everything is relative. Absolutely everything is relative. Okay.
And the problem is, growing up in 1980s, 1990s, you have the black intellectual orthodoxy, which was teaching us to look for races under every rock instead of teaching black people to be Mitt Romneys and teaching black people. You can do these things and still resist. You can do both, And again, that's something I deal with in the book. You can make money. You can embrace capitalism and fight tyranny. And that's basically the theme. Can you do that or can you not?
Right.
And can you do that with a white person? Can a white man? Because it's not all about, the whole thing's not about race, but it kind of, Chicago.
It's involved in the equation.
And it has to be, because that's what was going on. And that wasn't really necessarily my intention. But the fact is, in Chicago, anything involving crime, I'm sorry, people are going to associate that to it. But the real issue is, are people in power who are racist, do they really give a crap about black and white? Or are they doing it for another reason?
Yeah.
And that's really the real issue is, people are like, oh, you hate black people. I don't think there are that many white people who really hate black people. I think most of the point white racists do it because, like Donald Trump, I honestly don't think Donald Trump is any more, quote, racist than Joe Biden. But he saw that it worked. He saw that talking like that allowed him to beat Hillary Clinton. So he kept doing it. I honestly don't think organically Donald Trump walks around going, I hate that black woman. I mean, do you think? I don't think he does that.
I don't think he does either. I think it's like you said, he does what worked. He's a reality TV show host.
Yeah, he's playing a role.
He's playing a role. That's exactly right.
And I can hear in his voice when he's out of that role, like with the coronavirus, a couple times I've heard him go into like the real Donald Trump.
He's a different person.
And I'm listening, I'm like, wait a minute. He's making sense. He's reserved. I agree with that. Whoa, that was compassionate.
Yeah.
But then he's got to go back to playing that role. Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm sending federal troops into Oregon. And it's just a ploy. But, there was something called the Midnight Crew in Chicago. And they were a group of, it was a special, I think they were special case squad or something. They were a group of detectives and police officers that, because the crime was a problem in Chicago, they gave them extra leeway. And they were literally kidnapping black people and just torturing them.
Really?
Just for fun. And the leader of that finally got arrested, and he got convicted of a lengthy term. He recently got out of jail, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago. But he got convicted in I think it was 93 or 94. But yeah, I mean, he'd been doing this for 6-7 years.
So this was a government sanctioned.
Yeah, this was they were called the Midnight Crew. It was basically like New York has their plainclothes cops, They had a special unit to deal with, gang crime and all that. So they basically were like, and then Chicago cops were renowned for doing whatever they want. I mean, I'm not putting down all police officers. I'm just saying that was, even amongst the white kids, the rich white kids at Bradley University they were like, you don't want to mess with Chicago cops. Because there were stories of them pulling people over and go, how much you got? Yeah. So, and I kind of put a little bit of that in the book. And that's a real thing that happened. And that's something that's horror movie stuff in itself.
Yeah.
And so when humans cross that boundary, then the vampires can do whatever they want to them. But there's a certain boundary, there's a certain line, because if vampires start coming in and start punching people in the face, even if you can conceal it, if you break down that wall of reality, then they lose their power. Because their power isn't in being stronger or faster. Their power is in the fact that they're behind the curtain and they can control the big stuff. So so they don't let other vampires get too involved in pedestrian conflicts, because if they get caught or something happens, they can cover it up. But after a certain point, it turns out that people in power, and this is on a broader view, and I deal with this in the book, I believe people in power need everyone to just feel more or less comfortable. I don't think they want people like, oh, we just want to suppress everyone. I don't think they really want slaves. I think they want stability. Because if you have $10 billion, your $10 billion isn't worth anything if you and I think one day they're going to come and take our home and burn, kill our family, whatever.
Correct.
Your $10 billion will not stop a bullet from hitting you in the face.
It will not. It will not.
So we need to be comfortable enough with everyday life to where we don't want to lose what we have. So the idea that, oh, they just want black people to be enslaved and they just want us all and they want to exterminate. Like there's these right-wing people who believe that coronavirus is designed to kill off the... No. If you look at the statistics on mortality for COVID, if it's a bioweapon, it's the worst bioweapon of all time.
Sure.
So you get into this whole thing of assuming we give too much power to those who we haven't seen. We don't know who they are, but we've given them this, oh, well, they're making, like when people say they just want us to fight each other. Well, no, dude, they can't make you have your opinion.
So, and the term that you used and is often used is they. The yes. Invisible, they, yes. Unseen
yes.
they.
Yes. And so in my book, the vampires explain part of the they. Mm-hmm. And one of the things I can't get into is like, oh, that's crazy. But I'm like, my belief is not crazier than most of the stuff you guys believe. Like the stuff you guys are talking about is, in my opinion, less crazy than the idea that there are some. If you just take the magic out of vampires, then they're just who you think is running everything.
That's exactly right. They're the Illuminati. They're
right.
the Trilateralists.
Right.
They're the Bilderbergers. They're the New World Order. They're the Rothschilds. But they can go out in the daytime, and they are going to die eventually when they hit a certain age. Other than that, they're the same.
Well, can't give that part away. But
Okay.
but that's a good point. How would you ever know if someone's going to live forever? You can never know that. Even if someone's 2,500 years old, that's just to an ant. We live forever. You know what I'm saying?
Sure, because they may live a week.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Again, everything's relative.
And I was thinking about that when people are saying, well, there's so many people who have permanent disability from COVID-19. I'm thinking, wait a minute. How do you know it's going to be permanent?
Because permanent, I mean, that's forever.
I mean, it's one thing like you can arm whatever, but even like certain people who have had like, oh, you'll never walk again. I know like 3 people who were told they would never walk again, and they're walking. They run faster than me. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So it's the certainty about science is interesting because when you don't like what someone's saying, they say we don't know anything about it, but then they're like, oh, that's certainly, oh, yeah, if you do this and that, you're going to pass on corona. I go, wait a minute. You just told me that we don't know anything about this virus. And now you're telling me stuff about it that I've never seen explained or proven.
Well, and it's misinformation, and I don't think it's misinformation because it's been put out there as a distraction. I think it's misinformation because you have people who aren't qualified to speak about something speaking about it. Case in point, there's a trade publication that I use in my day job. It's called Nonwovens Magazine.
Right.
Nonwovens are products. Think of what a paper mask is made out of. Right. It's not paper. It's a nonwoven product, okay?
Right.
That's what it is, okay? And the lady who runs this magazine said the title of the story was Wear a Mask or Stay Home. Look, you got to wear a mask because when you wear a mask, that's your best defense against getting the coronavirus. No, it's not. It's not. It will. Experts say it will prevent you from giving it to somebody.
Right.
It doesn't prevent you from getting it. And so she was a smart lady, but she was just wrong.
I have no problem with people wearing masks. I do have one problem with the communication. And you saw all those people out there rioting and protesting, and like, oh, well, and people were saying on my Facebook page and in the news, well, at least they were conscientious to wear a mask. You know why they were wearing a mask?
They didn't want to be seen.
Well, not just that. Well, those are there's different. They're debate. They thought that the mask was protecting them. I honestly think that.
That could be.
I've talked to several, and they're
Okay.
like, I didn't want to. They didn't give a crap about anyone else. I honestly believe a lot of the people who are wearing masks, if they realize that the purpose, because most people don't know that, they think it's primarily to protect you.
This lady who wrote this article, and again, she's the head of a magazine. She's a sharp lady,
Right.
but she was just wrong.
Right. I don't, because you see a lot of people wearing them now, and that's a successful campaign if you make people think that it's protecting yourself. I honestly think, and I'm not cynical, and I don't think humans are bad people or bad, but I don't think as many people would wear them if they realize it's you being conscientious. If they didn't think it was self-serving, and I don't think that, I'm not in that category of thinking there's something wrong with humans being predominantly self-interest first. I think
That's how we are.
And I think it's better because if I'm doing this for you, you're removing the agency of the person you're helping. The idea, and again, going back to the book, is one of the themes is there's no savior BS. The only people who are saviors are people who tell you, I did this and that for you. If someone is strong, it doesn't matter if they're white, black, pink, or purple, and they join with you, they want something and you want something. That's it. It's an exchange. And that's what the problem is with the awoken mentality. They're against the idea of voluntary exchange. I mean, that's the centerpiece of that ideology is voluntary exchange is not a positive thing. They want to tell you who to talk to, what positions to have. And it's not out of voluntary, it's out of fear, which is still a voluntary exchange, but it's not a mutually beneficial voluntary exchange.
You need to revolt against the man.
Yes.
Translation, because I want to be the man.
And the man is, you never see him. The
Right.
man is an artificial, abstract construct that you never make any ground against him.
Because if we did, we'd think, that's all there is?